coming up this weekend, which will pass by the time you see this, is a district conference here in Helena in which Toastmasters from 4 different areas, different states, have come together to do a competition and to learn and share the Toastmasters experience. Coming to Helena, sharing his experience is the second National Vice President of Toastmasters International. From St. John, New Brunswick, Canada, we have Jim Kokocki. Welcome to the show. It's great to have you here, and to Montana.
Thank you, Brian. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great. Well, you know, I know a lot of people have heard the phrase Toastmasters, and they probably know some Toastmasters. There's a lot of us out there. But they might not really fully understand what Toastmasters is. Could you tell us, why is Toastmasters important, and how does it change people's lives?
Absolutely. So our mission is to empower people to become more effective leaders and communicators. So we do that in our 13,500 clubs around the world. We've got about 40 here in Montana, and we're in 160 countries these days. So people join our clubs to work on their leadership skills or their communication skills, or perhaps both. And they come in and they start participating now in our structured program. So people learn to speak topics when they're not prepared to answer a question. We call it impromptu speaking. They learn to plan and deliver and practice speeches, and they deliver those before our club meetings. They learn to give and receive feedback to other speakers, which is incredibly powerful in all aspects of our lives, to critically assess how somebody performed, give some helpful suggestions on how they can improve their performance. And people also learn to run meetings, to plan, prepare, and execute in a very tight time frame. So by exercising those skills, people develop their professionalism and their job skills and personal skills within our supportive club environments.
And I know I've been at Toastmasters for a long time. I joined for 6 years, I joined it for another 6 years, and it's amazing what it does to an individual. You know, you start out because you want to get a little better in talking, and it helps you in so many different areas and fields that you just don't realize it, how it enriches you and the people around you.
That's absolutely true. You know, when I joined the organization, I was a shy computer programmer who was very competent at my job. But one day 2 engineers came to my desk and they said, you're very smart, you're a great guy, you say nothing during meetings, you need some help from Toastmasters. And they dragged me to the meetings. And first 3 or 4 meetings I didn't say a word. I was afraid I'd say something stupid. You know, I quickly realized that I likely wouldn't. Yeah. And if I did, I could recover from it.
Yes.
So that's helped me develop, and it helps so many people develop. But as you say, Brian, there's so many professionalism skills, so many soft leadership skills that we practice within Toastmasters that helps a more rounded individual to emerge from the program.
Well, did you ever imagine you'd be in Montana for Toastmasters talking on TV, and much less at a district conference?
No, when I first joined, I just wanted to get that first 2-minute speech done and a 5-minute speech done. And you know, over time, our ambitions change and our skills change. We change as people. So I'm pleased to have recognized the potential to do this, and I'm pleased to serve in this office and to be here in Montana this weekend.
Well, you never realize the opportunities that come along because of it. I know I joined Toastmasters because I was interviewing for a job. And you know, they have these questions and you just keep answering while they're writing. When they stop writing, you've answered it. Well, they came to the one for me. It was like, what's your public speaking experience? None. You know? And they were trying to give me points. Well, have you presented at conferences? No.
Yes.
Have you presented to work people? No. Have you been on TV? Have you done this? Have you done this? No, 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 no. And I know they were trying to give me those points, but when they said, are you a member of Toastmasters? I said, no. But in my mind, I thought, but I'm going to be. And so I started with Toastmasters, and pretty soon an opportunity came to host a television show, and I was already prepared for it. And if I wasn't prepared for it, I wouldn't be here now. And it is such a wonderful group and organization. I guess the first thing to say is that it's a safe place to do speeches and to make mistakes. And guess what? We all make mistakes, don't we? We do speeches.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So how long have you been a member of Toastmasters?
It's 25 years now.
Wow, that's
yes.
quite a while.
Yes, yes.
Well, there's a number of people in Helena that have been, I'll say, lifetime members too.
Yes.
And a lot of people know who they are, and they really enjoy being a part of Toastmasters. But when we talk about Toastmasters, what I tell people is like, they give you the techniques to do a good presentation. You have goals and objectives with books, almost like task books, that here are 5 speeches, and you need to do one at a time, and it helps, it gives you a framework in which you hang the facts on, and then you get to go and you get to do presentations. But I was thinking of some people in our Toastmasters group. In fact, the first time I did my icebreaker, your first speech,
yes.
I thought, okay, another person's doing an icebreaker. I've got 5 minutes to be nervous. And she got up and she said, I can't do this, and sat down. And that happens. So I had to go up and do mine. I did fine. But that lady came back, and she went on to be quite accomplished Toastmaster. Awesome. So people make mistakes, and it's okay. And we see that all the time, don't we?
We absolutely do. It's a safe learning environment. It's a great place to practice the skills, develop the skills, and you know, we exist in a broader world. So Toastmasters is a wonderful organization unto itself, but really the power comes when you take your improved communication skills and your improved leadership skills and you use them in your personal life or your professional life.
And you know, I think many times people think Toastmasters as speeches, but as you mentioned, they're leadership skills. And leadership has become important to Toastmasters in that they developed another program in that, I'll say in the last 5 years or so. Tell us more about leadership. How do you develop leadership? So there's a phrase out there, leaders are born, not made, but that's not right, is it?
Yes, we've rebranded, and we say now Toastmasters is where leaders are made. And it's interesting, I'll tell you about, I was reading a blog on the Harvard Business Review quite recently. It's by a leadership expert named Jack Zinger. And he wrote about how we wait too long to develop the leadership skills. And it's a fascinating little writing because he says his company, they develop a leader, they do leadership training, they were invited in to talk to some elementary school kids. So his viewpoint is we should start training at age 6. Yeah. And what was interesting was he said, look, it's not about creating mission statements or about dealing with non-performers. For 6-year-olds, it's about protecting the self-esteem of our colleagues. And it's about focusing on the problems and not the personalities and not the people. So it's an interesting article, and those are some of the soft leadership skills we can develop in Toastmasters, because when we see a newcomer come into the room and they get up and they do their first speech, as you described, the first table topic, maybe 30 seconds long, and they feel like they've beaten the world, but we also count odds with the Toastmasters, and they might have a lot of odds. But yes. we protect their self-esteem by not saying, look, that was 30 and you need to improve. We protect the self-esteem by saying, look, you know, there were quite a few, but you're going to improve as time goes on. We also work on focusing on the problem or issues or the content, because you know, you might come to our club and do a speech, and I might violently disagree with your point of view, but I'm going to give feedback on your content, your delivery, your language, the effectiveness of delivering your message. So in that way, we practice the leadership skill of taking the emotion out of it, not focusing on a person or personality, and focusing on objectives. So those are some of the soft leadership skills we develop. And additionally, we've got lots of opportunities to develop within club leadership positions and just managing our clubs, managing a broader organization. So there's a lot of leadership opportunities within the organization that are relevant to people in their outside lives.
Yep, I agree. When you're talking about that, so many images went through my mind from all the people that I've worked with. I know some guys and gals that have joined have been so, I'll have to say, timid about speaking at all. And what was important is that Toastmasters is a logical sequence of experiences that they offer you so that you can go from point A to point B. And I was just so impressed with some of these individuals, the advancement that they had made. And a lot of Toastmasters, they stay for 25 years because they love to see the development of individuals.
Yeah, and I'd say two things to that. We do like to see the development of individuals. I'm just so motivated by seeing somebody come in who's nervous and awkward like I was. And within 2 or 3 months, they're getting pretty good, and in 6 months, they're really quite good, and in a year, they're really strong. So we love to see people develop and blossom in the organization. And I'd say additionally, you know, personally, one of the other reasons I'm still around for 25 years is, in my opinion, is you never master these skills. When are you good enough at choosing your message, delivering your message, seeing that your message is landing? So that's something that I think if we're going to be serious about communicating to people, we need to continually work on. And I do hear from people who've been in Toastmasters and left for a while that they get rusty. So what a great place to practice in our communication and leadership skills.
And you know, too, you develop some great relationships because you're going into a situation, you know, they say public speaking, some people would rather die than do public speaking. And here are these people, they've been there before. They know what you're going through. They offer encouragement. You will get a mentor that will help you along the way. And they see that fear and they help allay it by experience, by doing it. And then pretty soon it's not a fear. And it's a great evolution in an individual.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
So by working the program, by participating in the various aspects we've got, they become much broader, much more round, and yeah, it really works. It's been working since 1924.
Oh, yeah. You know, I've seen individuals come in and they say, well, I know that I have to present at this conference in 6 months. or I need to do a presentation for my boss and his people, or do something else. And they take the program, and once you get along in it, you can say, okay, now I want to practice this presentation before you.
Sure.
And sometimes it's technical, but you know, by practicing, by doing it, repeating it, it becomes much more comfortable doing it before your boss and before your other supervisors. And I know for myself, I do fire public information, put on community meetings. So they gave me a whole meeting, and I said, I want you guys to be real mean to me and aggressive and angry, because when I go out and I find these people, I don't want to have my first reactions to that. And it really helped me in my job and what I do. So now we have Toastmasters clubs throughout the world. I think it's at over 13,000.
Yes.
How do people find out about them? I imagine we have a website and a phone number.
You're absolutely right. So you go to www.toastmasters.org. There's lots of information about Toastmasters, and there's a link there where you can find a club. And as you go in, you can focus in on a country, a state, et cetera, down to a city. You can find all the clubs in the local area, their meeting times, contact information, probably links to some club websites. So in that way, people can look in for Helena and say, when do these clubs meet? What time of day? What might work for my schedule? And you can contact someone and email or call and say, well, tell me a little bit about the meeting. And we love bringing in guests. Our mission is to make effective communication skills a worldwide reality. So we love bringing people in, letting them see the environment, and hopefully getting them to participate.
And I know we have 7 clubs in Helena.
Yes.
At least 2 meet at 7 a.m., 2 over the lunch hour, 2 in the evening.
Yes.
And I'm not sure about the other one, but we have all times for you to.
Yes.
There's can't say it doesn't work for me. It's not convenient, and you don't have to go and join the first time, right?
No.
Well, what does a first person kind of go through when they're, for our viewers, are thinking, well, I'd like to maybe join, but what's that first meeting experience that a person will come and see?
Yeah, that's interesting. People have always got some preconceptions about Toastmasters. I've had people say, well, gee, if I go to Toastmasters, do I always need to wear a shirt and a tie? And not typically, but there's some clubs in the world where you would be expected to wear a shirt and a tie, so that phone call is important. But regardless of the club, they're welcome to see you come in and just experience the environment and see what your preconceptions are. You know, I think a lot of people view Toastmasters as perhaps being a little stiff and formal. And it's very structured, but it's a lot of fun as well. So when people come, they have some preconceptions shattered, I find. They just get a feel for how we do what we do. It's quite magical the way we develop people, so it's important for people to see what happens in that room and find out if they want to be a part of it. And, you know, at the times when we bring in new members, we'll push a little bit if it's appropriate, we'll back off when appropriate, and we want to see people start participating, because that's how you learn. As I'm sure you relate from your experiences. By participating that you develop the skills.
Exactly, and I know, but the club that I joined met 10 to 7 on Mondays, and usually when I got to work at 8 o'clock, I was like, oh, I missed it. So Wayne O'Brien would give me a call on Sunday night, and I'll remember tomorrow.
Yes.
And eventually it became a habit, and it was very comfortable doing it. But, you know, you attend one meeting, they're not going to say, you have to join now.
No.
I mean, you can go for 6 months attending them. And there's different clubs. I mean, it's not like each club is the same. Would you encourage a person to maybe visit different clubs and see, get a feel for them?
Yeah, absolutely. Visit a few clubs, see how the environments work and what is most comfortable for you. So that's encouraged. It's a great way to find the one that's a good fit for you, and maybe you find a friend who happens to be at one of those meetings. So that's a great place to attend.
Now, Jim, you've come down here from St. John, New Brunswick, Canada,
yes,
for a district meeting. And what is a district meeting? I mean, Toastmasters is more than just a club meeting once a week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so at the district conference this weekend, we'll be doing things like training our members in other ways to become more effective communicators, to become more effective leaders. We'll be training them on ways to improve club quality. We keep on investing in their club environments, because that's where people develop their skills. So we'll train them on becoming better club leaders. We'll have some elections for a new slate of officers to guide our District 78 here in the 4 states. And we'll have a speech contest as well, where someone will compete. Well, I think we've got about 8 people competing. One will be the champion for District 78. We'll get a trip to Cincinnati, Ohio in August to compete in the World Championship Public Speaking in the semifinals. And someone's going to walk off the stage on a Saturday in Cincinnati and be crowned the World Champion of Public Speaking.
Ooh, that's quite an accomplishment.
Oh, it is.
And last year we had an individual from Helena finishing the top 10 in the world, Garrett Garrels.
Wasn't that fabulous?
He's an amazing person to talk to. He comes to the clubs, he meets with us, he talks to us. But now, Jim, you know, when I talk about Toastmasters, you know, part of being a part of the Toastmasters, you put on a meeting, you schedule everything. And the one thing that I remember about Toastmasters that I share with people is nothing ever goes as planned. You know, you got 2 speeches, you got this, you got this, you got a time to the minute, and watching the clock, and it never goes as planned.
Yes.
What are some of the things that you might have learned from Toastmasters that are just a basic thing that might have surprised you?
Well, I think that the key lesson is adaptability, because things don't go as planned in life either, do they? So, no, I think you just learn to be adaptable. So things happen, weather happens, emergencies happen. So sometimes you've planned a formal event, and the key player phones you at the last minute and says they can't be at the event. So you learn through Toastmasters. It provides us another field for practicing those management skills, those leadership skills of adaptability, and not getting flustered in situations like that. So, I look at it, it's that we've got a structured program where people can work through our manuals, develop the skills, but it's also a broad environment where you take a responsibility for managing that environment and participating and develop those adaptability skills.
We were talking earlier about leadership skills, and I was thinking, well, now, does leadership skills come from doing your presentations in Toastmasters and doing your manuals, or is that a separate track in which you can choose to do it, and probably after you do a couple manuals in Toastmasters?
When a new member joins, we give them a manual for competent communication. It's got 10 speech projects that are all skills-based, so it gets them to work through projects like organizing their speech, on vocal variety, because often we're very monotone when we start, or get them to work on gestures, because often we're very rigid when we start to speak. But they also get a competent leader manual. It as well has got 10 projects that get you to exercise with leadership skills like listening, organizing, delegating. So it gives you some projects to execute within the club environment for the most part, where you can just practice a small element of leadership to build the total competencies that you possess.
And Jim, in your experience, do you see people entering into Toastmasters because they see a personal need for personal development, or are you seeing that corporations, businesses are encouraging their employees because they expect more from them?
Well, I think it's both, Bryan. Some people recognize that there's something missing from their skill set or their capabilities that they want to work on. Certainly, there's lots of examples where bosses have told employees to go work on their public communication skills. But I think it is a more demanding job environment. Because it's interesting, we're seeing a lot more young people join these days, and that's really encouraging, because I think they're recognizing that, it's fine to come out of school with a bachelor's degree or even a master's degree, but to perform well in an interview, you need some strong communication skills to listen to the question, understand the question, and answer the question. And often in interviews that I've gone through with some recent graduates, they've struggled with that. So it's encouraging to see some young people keying into that and coming into Toastmasters so they can become more effective communicators and really get a boost on a jump on their career. And there's lots of people I know that would agree with the statement that sometimes they might look on paper like they're the best candidate, but they don't get the job because someone presents themselves better. Yeah. In my opinion, the person who presents better usually wins the job.
Yes. And we've all seen people on TV or in presentations where they're not a good presenter. And I think they say that there's no boring topics, only boring presenters. And Toastmasters will help you with that. Well, now, Jim, we're drawn to a close on the show. And could you share with our viewers some of your final thoughts about Toastmasters and how great it is?
Well, it's a wonderful, supportive environment. And when you enter a Toastmasters club, you're with people who are working on self-development and want to contribute to your self-development. So they're wonderful people to be around. So many people will tell you about great experiences they've had developing their communication and leadership skills in Toastmasters. So I would just encourage anybody who's got any interest at becoming a leader in the future or in the present, becoming a better communicator in the future and the present, to just go and visit a club, see what happens, make an educated decision as to whether it's right for them at this point in time, and become informed about it, because it's just a wonderful environment that enables people to blossom.
And to blossom, that just really says it all right there, and that's what I've seen with everybody. Well, Jim, thank you for coming to Montana and for being on the show today. We really appreciate it. Very interesting, great communicator.
Oh, thank you, Bryan.
Great.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And again, for our viewers, we're talking about Toastmasters. We have a website, Toastmasters International. If you'd like to find a local club and hang out, just go in the door. You don't have to do anything. They're not going to obligate you. You don't have to bring your checkbook. People have attended for 6 months. Take that first step. It'll make a world of difference in your life, and you'll thank yourself in the future. Thank you for joining us.
Waterspout, on the ocean, off the coast of Martha's Vineyard in the year 1896.